Out. And we are on. Matt Lomakin, is that how you say your name?
Yeah,
How you doing, buddy?
good buddy. How are you?
I am wonderful. So you are based in New Bremen,
Yep.
and you own Redbird Armory.
hmm
So tell us a little bit your background. How did you get where you are?
Yeah. So I grew up shooting with my grandfather from a pretty young age. It's just something fun that we learned to do. And I mean, he started us off with like BB guns when we were like 6 years old, and you had to learn to treat that as a real gun before you could even start doing anything else, right? And for me, it was always just a big passion. Enjoyed shooting. It was fun memories for me growing up. As I got older and started getting my own, life going, I went to school for aviation maintenance. So I actually went to school to be an aircraft mechanic. And I ended up falling into my first job working on firearms out of nowhere. It was something that kind of just came up literally out of the blue. I found a guy to coat one of my firearms for me personally. Him and I hit it off, and out of the blue, he just called me up and goes, "Hey, you looking for a job by any chance?" And so I started working for him, literally just sandblasting gun parts, getting them ready to be recoated with a ceramic-based finish called Cerakote. I spent almost seven.
Was this in
No,
Ohio?
this was in Orange County,
Orange
Orange County, California, where I'm from originally. So I spent almost 7 years with OC Custom Coating as the head armor and head sales guy for them, where it was literally my mechanical experience just got me into taking firearms apart, putting them back together. It's always kind of intrigued me to do that kind of stuff. And so I started working for them. Well, in the process of doing that, I went and applied for my concealed weapons permit because I was transporting a lot of firearm parts to and from different vendors that did some of the outside work for us. And, expensive firearms, large cash payments. And so I went and did that. Well, in the state of California, that took me 10 and a half months from start to finish. It's not as easy as it is here in Ohio, where it's like, hey, you're a law abiding citizen. You can legally own firearms. You want to get a permit, you can get one, just take the class. Right. And so once I
So
finally
10.5 months, just like paperwork and
the paperwork, the background check alone took 127 days for their background check to come back. I had to sit down and have an interview with a retired internal affairs detective who literally went through every ticket I'd ever received in my life, saying, "Hey, why did this happen? Why would you do this?" Like, seriously, just sitting there and pushing buttons to see if you'd react. To get the approval from them that says, "Okay, now you can go take your class." So I went and took my class, and I just, with how hard it was to get one out there, I did not want just that one class to be my only class, that, okay, take this one class and you're done, and now I can carry a gun on me all the time, right? Because it was an 8-hour class. It barely scratched the surface of what you need to do.
hmm.
And so I started taking additional training with these guys. I felt it was a huge responsibility, to be able to carry a firearm with you around in public. Concealed or open really doesn't matter to me. It's a responsibility. So I started taking these extra training courses, and ended up loving what I was doing with those guys. And they kind of saw for me that it just clicked, and I was able to explain it to other people. Well, they said, "Hey, dude, go get your certs. We can actually pay you to come out and help us do this stuff." And so I did that. And so when I moved out here, and my wife and I made this decision, our daughter was born, 3 years ago, a little over now. And right before she was born, we weren't going to raise her in Orange County. I mean, heck, dude, our mortgage is over like $1,300 less a month than we were paying in rent in Orange County. And we lived in a nice area. We rented from family. But, the ability for us to look into, being able to retire at a reasonable age, put money away. As a family of two, if you wanted to retire in Orange County by the age of 75, you needed to have $3.5 to $4 million liquid just to pay your bills to the end of your days. And, together we were making decent money out in Orange County, but we were still living paycheck to paycheck, just trying to put a little bit of money away. That we weren't even talking about retirement. It hasn't been since we moved out here that now we're putting money away for retirement every month. Not to mention we live in you've been in New Bremen and Minster. We're in Mayberry, right? We're in a great area where people just look out for each other. They, like, Redbird has had amazing support from day one that we've opened up, of just the local community and people wanting to be part of the process. And so that's been just such a blessing. But it's one of those things where, okay, we want to move where we can raise our daughter and we can afford to retire. put money away and actually retire at a reasonable age and not be like scrounging. I mean, we'd be able to put money away. We've been able to go on vacations, like all this stuff that in Orange County, we're like, I don't know if we can do that this year, maybe next year, versus, oh no, we want to go up to Wisconsin, visit her dad. Yeah, let's hop in the car and let's drive up there. We want to drive down to or fly down to Florida. Yeah, we can do that. And that's been kind of one of the biggest goals of moving out here, and also just being able to do Redbird is continue to put that money away every month so that we can enjoy life and pass that on, whatever's left, to our family members, be able to retire at a reasonable age and enjoy the latter years of life too, that we're not just working to the bone till God knows when.
Yep. I love it. I can relate too, because we got pregnant with our first kid in Chicago, and we had to make the same executive decision, like, do we want to raise our kids here, or do we want to move to the countryside or the small town America? And yeah, that's why we moved here. Wow. Okay. Awesome. So your mechanical background or aircraft mechanics, is that what you called it?
Yeah. I went to school for airframe and power plant, A&P. So yeah, it was everything from working on the skin and outside of the airplane down to working on the engines and all that.
Nice. And you managed to find an application for that knowledge in the firearm industry.
Yeah. And it's cool because then I got to take something that I loved doing as I was a kid and then start moving it into something that was my own business and making it my own out here and having some fun. And so from everything from working on the firearms, so firearms maintenance, upgrading firearms, changing out parts on firearms, to the customization. I used the same shop that I was working for out in Orange County for Cerakote, slide cutting, stippling, because these are some of the best guys in the business. I don't have to invest a bunch of money into equipment, for something I may get here or there. It's like, no, I can be that all-in-one service stop for those people. You want to refinish your gun? Great. You want to just change out parts? Great. I can take care of that for you. And then the firearms training side of things as well. Being able to just be versatile in what I'm doing, because of course, as we all know, time is the most profitable thing for us. It costs us nothing more than literally, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, but there's no overhead aside from just that time. Right. And so, that's kind of cool too. And being able to enjoy that. So.
Yeah. So Redbird Armory, did it get conceived back in Orange County until you started there for a while, right?
Yeah, so I started as with OC custom coating all the way through, but the concept of Redbird Armory, it was almost a 2-year process of planning to move out here and then finding a house out here, which you already know is the fun part of waiting. Yeah. When the good houses pop up here, man, they're off the market just as quick. If a house sits on the market out here, it's going to need some work, right?
Yeah, same here.
And so, but we made that commitment, when our daughter was born initially. And so we started searching and also trying to figure out what can we do. Thankfully my wife, with her job, she's telecommuting. She's working for the same law firm she was working for out in Orange County as an attorney. And she's still working for them as an attorney. She's licensed in the state of Ohio and California. But for me, it was like, okay, well, what do I do? Do I go work at Crown, Honda, all these other places and just kind of fall into this monotony, or do I take this opportunity to start something for myself that's mine? And will it make $1 million a year? I don't know, but I know that I offer a great service and can actually enjoy something that I love doing, instead of like, oh man, great, I got to go to work. And don't get me wrong, I love that these big corporations are here that allow this town to be what it is, and allows people to have that blue collar work option straight out of high school. That's not just, okay, well, I guess I can go here and make minimum. No, people come out of high school here and make double, triple minimum wage straight out of high school if they want. And that's a great opportunity. But for me, that's not what I wanted to do. I had found something that I loved for the last 6-7 years with OC Custom Coating. And so for me to translate that into Redbird Armory. So I started Redbird Armory officially about a month after we moved out here, but the planning for Redbird Armory had been going on for about almost a year and a half, even just coming up with the name Redbird. Our state bird is the cardinal, our local high school are the Cardinals. And so Redbird was just, at first I was like Cardinal Armory, and just like, nah, I don't like that. But Redbird, I kind of like Redbird. What do you think? And I was like, then there's the question, one word or two? You're like, I don't know. And then, it's the whole, like, how do we make this look? Even down to the logo that we came up with, trying to get that small town feel. Like my concept for the logo was literally nose art that you would see on some of the old, like, World War II bombers, sort of cartoony, sort of, but just that vintagey kind of look. And so that's where we came up with our logo as well. Just having something fun and cool. And didn't want to steal the local high school's cardinal as well. So I figured I had a couple buddies of mine who are pretty good little artists, and they helped me design that. We spent, I think there was like 20 different variations of just that logo, finding one that I really like, even dialing in the colors. Like, hey, am I using the same colors that the New Bremen Cardinals use, so that it like has that home feel to it?
Or the Louisville Cardinals.
Yeah. So you gotta be careful, right? We don't want
Yeah.
to end up using Ball State University's logo.
So you spent some time on the branding. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man. So the idea of Redbird Armory started in Orange County, and then you basically brought it here, and then you made it flourish. Instead of just coming here and getting a job, you just believed in the idea enough to just go all out.
Yep.
Awesome. So you've been operating for 3 years now?
2018. So about a year and a half that we've been in operation so far out here, almost 2 years. That'll be two years in July. So yeah, we've been doing that for a while, and started off with CCW classes, and offering just basic services. The joy of jumping through the loops and hoops of trying to figure out how to run a business out of my home legally in New Bremen, and getting that all done appropriately. Starting to build the clientele, marketing. I mean, thankfully I had a decent Instagram following from Orange County. I had my own Instagram aside from OC Customs, called the Armorer's Bench. And so I was able to say, hey, the Armorer's Bench is now becoming Redbird Armory. So that was nice, because then I had a following of like over 4,000 followers right off the bat, just there. So when I started, the Facebook and the digital marketing side of that, I was able to promote it there and get almost right off the bat, like 400 or 500 followers within the first week on Redbird Armory's Facebook page. And I think we're just under 1,000 on there now, which is good, because I mean, hell, we're a village of 2,000 people. So I'll take that and kind of move that from there. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun for sure.
So what did you offer initially, and what have you built into it? So you started with just CCWs, right?
Yep, just CCW classes. Started offering basic cleaning and maintenance, and then from there, now it is transcribed into parts, accessories, the slide machining and cutting, stippling, basically all the services that I was offering at OC Custom Coating, as well as the retail side of, hey, you need these sights for your firearm, you need to change this trigger out, these other parts, everything from just, hey, this gun's been sitting for a while, I don't know, can you go over it? Kind of just an all-in-one, one-stop shop. The only thing we don't sell currently is firearms. We focus mainly on the service side of it and all the pieces and parts that need to go with it. The federal firearms license in and of itself is a whole nother beast that we will be tackling and having done by the end of this year. The goal not being that I have a huge inventory of on-hand firearms, because that's as a business, you honestly don't make a ton of money off firearms. It's always the accessories and the upgrades and this and that. So it'll still be, especially small town here, more catalog order saying, hey, Matt, I'm looking for this gun. What price can you get it for? And then I can usually have it here within 4 days or less, depending on what it is.
Okay.
So still being able, custom order, and that way people are only spending money on what they need.
Right. But you're not like keeping inventory of.
Yeah, because that's one of the biggest problems with gun shops when you start to move into becoming a gun shop, is inventory. You got people that'll spend $20, $30, $40, $50, $100,000, whatever it is, on inventory, and then it sits. It sits for however long. So for me to do that smaller base catalog order, if you will, like the old Sears catalogs, right? Where it's like, hey, what do you need? I'll get it exactly for you. It minimizes my overhead and gets my client exactly what they need every single time, which is awesome. Keeps them taken care of there.
So you do sell firearms, but only like a la carte, kind of like you have to have someone come in and say, hey, I need, this 1911 with this kind of thing and this kind of thing.
So once the federal firearms license is done this year, we will be selling firearms. And like you said, it'll be more of that a la carte, like, what are you looking for? Let me order exactly what you need. Here's the price that we can get it for. The interesting part of what I do is both with firearms, accessories, and it's the joy of Amazon and its likes, right? Is someone online always has it for cheaper. Okay. So I have to sell that service of being able to get these parts in where I still make money on it, right? but that it's a fair price and that people are willing to spend that slightly extra dollar with me compared to what they get it for online, because they know they're getting good quality information. There's nobody else that at any of those other distributors that's going to pick up the phone and spend the time with the customers that you do, and saying totally, or being even willing to tell customers flat off the bat when they say, this is what I'm looking to do, and I'm looking at this and saying, man, I could make a decent amount of money if I did that, but based off of what you've told me, that's not what you need, and this other solution might be better for you. You know, being willing to have that honest business model of giving people good advice, not just what's going to put a buck in my pocket.
Because the consulting piece is important.
Huh?
The consulting piece is important.
Yeah, it builds that relationship.
Yeah.
It's more than just that one purchase. Because if we plan to be here for a while, I need more than just that one purchase. Especially in the current times that we're in right now, where it's just like, okay, you need to develop those customers that are loyal customers that are spending money when money's tighter. And then also when it's all said and done, you know, you've got people who've been panic buying firearms and parts and accessories and ammo left and right. Once everything calms down, I mean, heck, 2.5 million firearms were purchased last month. New firearms owners, 2.5 million. Okay. Whenever this whole stuff finally calms down, people are going to have all the firearms they need. They're going to have all the ammunition they need and all the other parts they need, because they'll have spent that money now panic buying and paying way too much for it. They are only going to spend money with businesses like myself that they want to spend, not that they need to spend. And so I need to be that guy that they want to spend money with. And that comes down to the quality of customer service, the integrity that I run my business in, and the consistency of product that I continue to put out for them. And that's kind of like our core staples that we run through on whatever service that we do, is that integrity, quality, and consistency all the way through. If we can maintain those three things, I think that we can continue to develop a business model that will grow and stay around for a long time. So
nice. Well, you're really growing the brand. So you're not, I thought you didn't sell firearms at all, but there is a
that's in the pipeline for this year. So
cool. Awesome. What other services are you planning on adding to Redbird? Are you happy where you're at with the line of services that you're offering, or do you want to expand, or do you have like a long-term business plan?
So yeah, it's funny because everything that's going on now has really caused me to change the direction of what I was doing in a lot of ways. One, it's given me more time at home to actually work on them. A lot of times I'm just go between what I do with Redbird, the consulting and whatnot that I do for the Indoor Range Midwest Shooting Center up in Lima. This has given me time to really focus on my business model and reevaluate where I'm at and what I'm doing. And it allowed me to make a decent number of changes too. So like currently just the CCW class, I can't get together with people and teach a CCW class in person. So to be able to pivot and say, hey, research everything, what we can do legally, great. I can offer a hybrid online and at least get the class portion of it done. As soon as stay-at-home order is lifted, go ahead and we'll get together to shoot. The nice part about that is as I look in the long term, I don't always have to offer a CCW class in person. You know, whether it be, hey, I've got 3 people and we don't really want to come down to New Bremen today. We don't have 7 to 8 hours to put together for our class time. Great. Let me split that up for you. Let's do that same Zoom media conference. Let's do the full class experience. You know, I could just record a class and tell them to hit play. But as multiple people have experienced, there's a difference of being able to ask questions and have them answered right off that unique individual experience. So I've been able to do that. I've reduced the price on what I charge on my CCW class right now because the wallets are tighter for everybody. I normally charge $100 for my CCW course. I'm charging $80 all the way around for any of my hybrid CCW classes now, because again, I want to be respectful of people's wallets. They're spending money where they need to spend money right now in their opinions. And I want to make sure that we're honoring that. I've reduced costs on my cleaning services. So like most pistols, it's $60 for a deep clean on most pistols. I'm doing those at $45 right now because again, it's my time and it's going to be respectful of my customer in the long run. We're working on partnerships right now. So we'll be announcing probably this week a partnership with the firearms training company that I did a lot of work with back in Orange County, Artifacts Firearms Training, where anybody wants to do these online style courses. They're kind of pivoted the same way that we have here. They are offering, these are guys who have, you know, long range shooting experience and just all kinds of crazy stuff like that, where it's like more than my experience, former military guys. So we're offering partnerships now with them where they're giving any of my customers 10% off on all their classes, giving me the ability to come in and guest teach on subjects that I'm very familiar with, like armoring courses on 1911s. So really trying to change that form of the business model there. And that's, again, stuff that for us is changing in the long run, because we found that it's beneficial even in this, that it will definitely be beneficial once everything calms down. Offering those same hybrid courses for introduction to firearms, firearm safety consultation. So if somebody's just brought a new gun into their home, being able to have same kind of a video conference, them going over the basic rules of firearm safety, talking about how they're storing their firearms, offering them solutions for that, really trying to maximize that. And again, the joy of technology. God forbid this had happened 10 years ago even. I don't think half these businesses would have been able to survive, even including myself, to do what we needed to do. We would have jumped on unemployment for a while, shut our doors to see what happened until it calmed down. Thanks to this, we're able to actually, continue to not only survive, but hopefully continue to grow. That we still remain profitable. Redbird doesn't make a ton of money right now, but we've been profitable every year, in the sense that we don't owe anybody anything. We own our business 100%. We've been able to maintain that. We don't have any debt as a company. We've been able to maintain that.
Nice.
And that's some of the big things. But yeah, just making those changes and making those pivots where we can, to stay relevant, not only now, but stuff that will continue to work for us in the long run after this, which it seems like a lot of what we've been doing has. So that's kind of where we're trying to stick with.
Nice. So you made a lot of decisions that'll keep Redbird lean and mean, like the move from California, the working out of your home, like dedicating space for work from home, just like what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
And that kind of prepared you for what we're going through right now. Imagine if you had, overhead and rent and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, it would have been insane. I mean, and the hard part is the paycheck protection programs don't really help a small business like me, and the SBA emergency disaster loan grants, they don't even know what they're doing. I applied for one just for the sake of saying, hey, my business is definitely being affected. Cost of ammunition is going up. Parts are more scarce, so the parts I can find at wholesale are going to be more expensive. And so I've applied for one, but I did that almost 2.5 weeks ago, and I still haven't heard anything back on that. And now I'm hearing, and now I'm hearing that the grant that you are eligible, what it was initially, hey, it's a $10,000 grant, is now up to $10,000 and could be based off the number of employees that you have. Well, I'm a sole proprietorship, so great, you're going to give me maybe $1,000 in grant, the rest I have to take out in a loan. Right. Thankfully I'm at a spot, like you said, that I can continue to run, that if I get it, great. And if I don't, I'll survive. I just got to, condense down and again, offer more service to the best of my ability, because I can't get parts. Right. Everybody's sold out on ammunition right now. I can't get ammo to save my life. And the ammo that is coming in stock is, 75% more the cost than what I was paying previously. I mean, wow. And that's going to translate to customers.
Yes.
And so for me to turn around and go, okay, hey, normally, my markup, I'd get a couple dollars per box of ammunition that I'm selling. I gotta keep it at no more than $1 a box when we start hitting those prices, because again, people are going to spend money where they need to spend money now, but when it's done, they're going to spend money where they want to spend money. And I want a place that they want to spend money. So keeping fair pricing has definitely been difficult right now. But again, we're sitting pretty, we're doing well in that side of things. We're not hurting. So that's been
price gouging has been an issue since this whole thing started.
Everywhere. It doesn't matter what the industry is. In firearms industry, the ammunition has gone up so significantly in price because, and it's the joy of capitalism, right? So they say one really smart company, while everybody else was running out and buying ammunition, went out and bought all the primers they could find. And the primers, the piece that makes the gun, makes that spark ignite in the cartridge and sends the round down range, right? They went and bought all the primers. So one company is holding all the primers right now. And even the manufacturers are out of the primers that they had in stock. And so now they're having to go back to this one company and say, hey, we need to keep making ammo, and they're paying more. So then the manufacturer's paying more, which means the wholesaler's paying more, which means the retail guy is paying more. And it's this trickle down effect. So the price gouging on ammo doesn't come from the manufacturer, sadly. It comes from the one company that's holding all the primers and charging way too much for them.
I see. So during the gold rush, they went and started selling shovels.
They didn't start selling shovels. They bought all the shovels.
They bought all the shovels, right?
Yeah. They have all the shovels, and so it's like, okay, great. What are you going to do? We are working on partnerships with ammunition distributors directly to hopefully offset that, because at some point primers are coming back in stock. This one company, yes, they bought all the primers, but the companies that make the primers are now making more primers. So eventually they'll be back in the numbers that the manufacturers will be able to drop their pricing back down again. But that'll take some time. It's not going to happen overnight. So for us to develop those relationships with those ammunition manufacturers directly, even as a small business that's not ordering, $20,000-$30,000 worth of ammo at a time, that we can at least cut out the middleman for the wholesaler side of things and at least help reduce that cost down for our clients in the long run too is huge.
Right. I like how you pivoted pretty quick, because I took your class, two weeks ago, at least the Zoom part of it, the theoretical part of it. I like how you pivoted pretty quick. You jumped on Zoom right away, right after this thing. You did not waste any time, and you started doing your classes on Zoom right away, which is a big change for you. You've never had to do that probably, right?
Yeah, and it's weird because you're talking to a computer. The joy of Zoom, at least, is like with your class, more people by that time were actually using the video portion of it as well, so that I'm not just talking at a blank nothing. And the interaction of that class was really awesome, where I've seen more people. At first they were kind of a little bit hesitant towards technology. It was just far enough in by that class that people were like, well, this is the way, right? This is what we've got to do. And so they're actually participating in keeping that live class. Because imagine if you had taken that class and it was just a pre-recorded, hey, here you go. How much would you have really paid attention versus when I could call you guys out randomly and go, hey, what's this? And have it still be that same interaction. I think that's the biggest thing that sets my class apart from any other class in the area, let alone the state, when it comes to concealed carry. I don't want my students just repeating knowledge. I want them understanding the knowledge. And part of that is pushing into their heads, but also the other part of it is answering their questions more, so that it's not just them parakeeting, that they can tell me in their own words what I actually mean, what I said. And then hopefully by the time we move to the range, that's been put into good practice for them, that they're like, okay, great. Like, hopefully you've been doing dry fire drills at home, right? That you've been practicing that presentation. You've been working on that aiming, the breathing, hold control, trigger control, follow through. Putting out our videos that we've been putting out for new firearms owners on our Instagram and Facebook, where it's just like, a lot of this is information that we give in our CCW class. We're just taking less time to do this. But how can we capture those new firearms owners? Because they're going to need stuff passed just like right now when they panic and went out and bought something. But more importantly, they have that gun right now with minimal to no experience. How can I benefit them and just go, hey, here you guys go. Here's some of the basic tips you need to focus on, work on. Our video that we're releasing today is going to talk on the legal do's and don'ts of CCW in the state of Ohio, but also just for anybody who's not in this state, you need to know the laws in your area. Giving that proper education, because ultimately, yes, I need to make $1 and make a living for sure. But that's only provided by responsible firearms owners using their firearms responsibly, storing their firearms responsibly. Coming from a state like California to here and seeing the difference in gun laws there versus here, some of the strictest gun laws in the country, and they're still having shooting issues out there. Versus out here, it's like, it's just the way of life, and it's always kind of been, and it's different. But bad things that happen with firearms are what media likes to focus on, and it can affect the business greatly one way or the other, especially on the legislative side of things, where people just start making laws. So being a good steward of this amazing right and responsibility, and being able to be someone who can facilitate that is awesome for me. It's just one of the coolest things ever. Just working.
I think you are a good steward of the industry. That class was really eye-opening. I have used firearms before, the safety. My family is pretty safe, and they know their guns and all that stuff. So I was a little briefed on safety and all that stuff, but the class really anchored like the whole thing. Like now I have an anchor. I like everything was solidified. And I also found out some gaps to fill, like in my knowledge, like, oh, I didn't know that.
Good.
Like for me, a pistol had a clip, and then a bigger firearm had a magazine. I didn't know that. All magazine. But yeah, let me jump on to social media. I see that you've been pretty consistent with your social media. Tell me a little bit about that. What clicked?
Uh, so again, part of it's time. I've got nothing but time right now, and so even if it means going in and getting stuff done ahead of time while I've got time, because you've got kids at home, so especially right now, I've got a 3-year-old running around the house home from preschool right now, right? And so finding that time later at night to do the work that I need to do, both physically on firearms and then some of the social media and marketing, still being able to be a responsible and an interactive dad, that my daughter enjoys, that she has to be stuck with 24 hours a day right now. I've just really made that push that, later in the evening, I'll make my video for the next day. I'll make a couple videos for the next day, whatever it is, so that I just got this stuff in the reserves, if you will, that even when I don't have time, I can start to throw that stuff out there. That has allowed us, like right now we're getting ready to do a group buy on items. So group buys mean that if I can get at least 15 people with the first item that we're working on right now, it's a Hollow Sun 507C red dot.
Mm-hmm.
If I can get at least 15 people to buy in at $265 versus normally it's going for $309, I still make money and I've got quantity, right? And so it's just benefits that we can offer to members going, hey, cool, let's get you guys taken care of. We're all trying to save money right now, but still keep revenue coming in, and that shouting that stuff out on Facebook, using the polls, using the, hearing what people want. Because then if I get 5 people out of Facebook and Instagram that say, yeah, we'll take part on it. Well, it doesn't make sense for me to offer it at $265, but I can still get them a good price on it. Now I've got those contacts. Yeah. I screenshot when those people come in and they vote on something, I screenshot who those people are so that I can now turn around and follow up with them on, hey, you said you were interested in this. We don't have the 15 people, but I can do it for you guys at this price. And then, like you're seeing there, it's all, the last 2 weeks has been safety video, safety versus these are cool looking gun things. It's all, let's talk about these fundamentals of firearm safety and everything that we need to do to get that round to go where we want it to go.
I like the way that you basically, like, your social media is displaying everything that you're talking about in the class itself. This is a class that this is how you make a living, but you still share everything on your social media, including the actual curriculum. Like, you dig right into it, the safety, how to handle your gun, all that stuff.
Yeah, because when it's
really like that.
Yeah, because when it's all said and done, they still have to come legally. They still have to come take the class.
Right.
So at that point, I'm really focusing on responsible firearms owners. I think it's more important to me. I'm not taking anything away from me in posting this stuff. And there's still, like, as you learned from the class, the videos are short. There's still so much more knowledge that comes with it aside from that, that they have to put into play and actually use as well. But it gives them that taste right off the bat, and understands, hey, if this is how he is just talking to a camera, how's he going to be talking to me? And get that stuff taken care of. So
yeah, I like that a lot. You didn't hold back. You did 7 or 8 videos, and you basically covered like the entire safety thing. That was great. And I did actually get to watch some of them before coming to class, so that helps a little bit.
Good.
So now that we're pivoting during these crazy times and you're jumping on Zoom, you got actually like a pro Zoom account, right? Like you're going all out on this. Okay.
Yeah, it's like $15 a month. And so, like, honestly, at that point I was like, well, as a business, I host one class, the account's already paid for itself for the month.
Yes,
so if I can hold one social media Zoom account class a month, it pays for itself at $15. I have found that the platform has been very user friendly. There's a little bit of me just getting used to the ins and outs of it. But that was a pretty quick learning curve for me. I find that the platform allows great interaction. I mean, I just hosted with the other business I work up at a Midwest Shooting Center. All the other part-time employees there have been laid off because, hey, we're slow right now. I'm the only part-time employee there that's still employed because I took my thing here of what I do with Zoom and said, hey, I can continue to do that for you guys too and continue consulting and getting that extra money coming in there. I just hosted a class up there with 22 people in the class. Nice. With 0 issues on the Zoom side. There's a couple older people that might have some issues technically, right, of understanding that. But the cool part is at that point with that size class, and if I were to ever run a Redbird class that big, I'd have my wife or someone else on the other end too, just be able to, hey, call in, let me walk you through it so that I can keep the class itself running and going.
Awesome.
but yeah, it's been a phenomenal platform. I mean, if I had tried to FaceTime party this, it just, again, 5 years ago, I don't think the technology would have been where we need it to be to have this be as readily available and awesome as it is currently.
Yeah.
It has been huge in us being able to do what we need to do.
Right. So the firearm, your industry has changed. Some of the things have changed temporarily during just this crazy thing. What are some of the things that are gonna change permanently in your industry once we get over it? Are we gonna go back to normal, or is there gonna be a new normal?
I think it's going to be, ironically, I think it's going to be a hybrid between the two. I think that some things are going to come back to normal. I think that the video classroom side of things is something, especially even just for Redbird, is going to stick around. I think it's an awesome benefit. It's a way to split up that one-day course, which, it's not bad. We spend about 7 to 8 hours together in person when we do the CCW class in person. But for some people that with kids and everything else, hey, I've got 5 hours here and I can get together another time. So that gives us that option. It saves us money in the long run because we're not spending time to rent out. Normally when I do the class portion in one day, I'm renting out the gun range here. I rent it out for the day. So it saves me money on that. But also, again, just being able to bring in not only, just like I'm going to be guest instructing for artifacts on an armor's course, I can now start to bring these professionals in that are in Orange County, California. I mean, one of the guys is a retired British SAS officer for 14 years. The other guy's a retired Marine. He was, designated marksman in the Marine for like 6-7 years, whatever it was. People with experience that me, I'm just a guy who likes to shoot. These are guys who their life has literally depended on their ability to do what they need to do. And now I can bring them in and have them host classes. Offering, being able to get together with U.S. Law Shield, who we use for our self-defense coverage, legal representation coverage, and saying, hey, you guys want to come in? Normally we'd all get together and host these big meetings. Why don't we do a digital one where you guys don't even have to send somebody up here and give people this knowledge and this ability, and again, continue to market what we do. The video conferencing has just been huge for us, and I think that is going to be something you're going to see, not just in the firearms industry. I honestly think that you're going to see more and more of this going on. Right. More employees are realizing, well, hell, I can do most of what I do from home, who are still employed right now. Do I really need to go in the office? I think you're going to see a huge push across the industry of people saying, hey, I just spent 2 months doing exactly what I'm doing now here from home. I don't need to be in the office every single day. I'm going to start telecommuting now. And that's going to become a requirement for employees, because they're just going to say, no, I want this. I think that is going to be huge in not just the firearms industry. I think you're going to see this all the way around. I think guns will always go up and down in pricing and value, and ammo, depending on who's running for office and what the election looks like and blah, blah, blah. That's just the way of the world. Okay. But the educational side, the training side, I think you're going to see a lot more of this. I honestly do. And again, outside of this industry, you're going to see a lot more of this.
Yeah, that's a great insight. Yeah, people are going to start negotiating telecommuting. Yeah. They're interviewing. Like, yeah. do I get to telecommute?
when the Supreme Court has now just announced that they are going to start hearing cases remotely, right?
Yeah.
If the Supreme Court can make constitutional decisions remotely, why can't I sell widgets from home and dress and put on pants for a meeting, right? Okay, cool. That's literally going to be the conversation I think you're going to see start to happen throughout America as the workforce continues to grow.
I like it, man. What is your advice to people in the same industry as you who are a little resistant to change? What do you want to tell them?
They can call me. I'll do it for them. No, I understand the resistance behind the change, especially for some who are doing it that are just a little afraid of technology in general or not as comfortable with the technology. Seek out the advice because, again, you have the ability to turn around and not only just maintain your business, but continue to grow your business during this time. While you have this downtime, it is the best time for you to start really reevaluating where you're at. You'll start to understand where you can keep and maintain expenses versus where you can start to cut expenses. Like you said, we were able to run the business out of our home. So at least right now, the financial impact of being able to keep my brick and mortar up and running has been minimally affected, right? But I still need to make money. So I'm able to start to, these business owners are starting to learn what they really truly do need for their companies and what they don't. So pay attention to that. Start taking note of that. I have a list that I keep going on my phone of all the things that, hey, here's what I'm seeing. Here's what's going on. Here's what let me look into this. Let me work on this. Here's where we can make this improvement. And it's just starting to plan that out. You've got that downtime, use it. Use it. That is the biggest thing. Embrace the technology side of it, sure, but more importantly, embrace this downtime to really evaluate where you're at and how you can keep yourself relevant and going. And go from there. I think that's kind of the biggest step. You've got the downtime, use it. A lot of good decisions can be made from that point. I promise you. If you don't know, seek counsel, seek advice. There are people that are smarter than me, left and right, that I talk with on a regular basis, saying, "Hey, here's what struggles are you guys getting?" Because I've had the ability to develop relationships with some of the best people in the firearms industry. It's not just Redbird Armory. Matt at Redbird Armory knows some of the top people, a lot of the big name firearm companies throughout the country. Hey, how are you guys dealing with this? What are you guys doing to deal with this? And seek that counsel, seek that advice. We all want to be around when this is all said and done. So maybe we can, learn from each other where we can too there. That would be awesome.
Maybe you can start doing videos just like these on your Facebook and interview those guys and just pick their brains in a recorded video.
Yeah. That is, now you're going to make me write that down. Yeah, no, I completely agree.
I mean, you've started already. You've started these videos already. Might as well just,
you might as well keep them going. And that's the thing is like, okay, can I keep these? Like when this is all calmed down, will I be making a video a day every single day? Probably not. But the importance of backlogging, for those of us who do social media, backlogging social media content while you're sitting down anyway. Start putting this stuff together, put it on your calendar. Hey, and save it in a file, do whatever else you got to do to just have this content, keep people interactive, because we've seen what social media can do or hurt what you're doing if you're not on top of it. So backlog that stuff, have that stuff in reserve, ready to go so that you're consistently engaging. It's definitely interesting on the firearm side of things when it comes to social media, because there's certain tags that can get you shadow banned on Instagram. So you've got to you got to be very careful how you post stuff, that it's all part of the educational process and this and that and everything else. I don't do firearm sales. Even when we start doing sales by the end of this year, I will not be promoting firearm sales on Facebook and Instagram, because that can violate terms with them. So, it's things that I have to keep in mind and consider. Right. But yeah, more importantly, like I said, just backlog that content, set that stuff up ahead of time so that you can have that ready to go. And I promise you, it's going to make a big difference just on your overall social engagement.
Yeah, I like that. You mentioned a really good point. Like, especially in an industry, it's a little sensitive. So jumping on social media, you have to be mindful of what you can post and what you can't.
If I'm going to participate there, I agree that I'm going to abide by those terms, right? Whether I agree with them or not, doesn't matter. I'm using that platform, so I have to abide by those terms. Just like with my firearms ownership, I'm responsible for knowing all the rules and laws that pertain to the possession, use, ownership, and carrying of my firearm, right? Yep. Those, and for wherever I'm in, whatever jurisdiction. When I lived in California, whether I agreed with their rules or not, I had to abide by them, right? Now I'm in Ohio, whether I agree with them or not, I have to abide by them. So that same, if I'm going to use that to grow my business, then again, I've got to do that. There's been attempts to come up with social media platforms that are tailored towards, the Second Amendment, Pro 2A people. They just don't have the steam or the funding behind them that Facebook and Instagram and all these other, big conglomerates have. They just don't. They'll never get that kind of traction. So, use what you got to use, but play by the rules, and I promise you, it can grow.
Right. Do you think this COVID-19 thing is a blessing in disguise? Like, maybe this will broaden your footprint. Maybe you will start touching like other markets that you were not able to touch before.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, it's a blessing in disguise from, I think more of us are, or more importantly, we're all being forced to stay at home and spend some time with our families and really get away from the screen time. Because when you got a 3-year-old running around the house, it's sorry, you can only watch so many movies, and you want to keep them interactive and going too. But as a business, it has to. I mean, would I have looked into the Zoom marketing and everything else of how I could continue making this before? Probably not. I probably would have been same slow, same grow, versus where I'm at now, where I can go, great, this is really beneficial for us here, and this is where I can continue to offer services outside of here. You know, for me to start right now where I'm researching what other states that my credentials allow me to teach CCW in that may not even require a shooting portion, or getting together with instructors in those states and saying, hey, I can teach the class portion, you teach the shooting portion, and go ahead and everybody wins a little bit there. You know, allowing us to build ourselves as that reputable source, not just here in Ohio, but nationwide. That's kind of where we're going. And it's all because of what has happened now. Would I have looked at this or had the time to look at this, you know, 2 months ago? Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you were in it, you know, where you just focused on your local market, whatever. Now you have the resources, you have the expertise, you have the people, like your network. You have a network of like people who are really knowledgeable, and you just added internet to that.
Yep.
So you basically, it's going to fuel a business change for sure.
Yeah, it's like when a kid first learns to walk and they get this like kind of bright, daisy happy look in their face, and you're like, kid, you have no idea what you're about to get yourself. Like, this is just the beginning, right? I really feel that what's going on right now is just that, like, this has all been available. We just haven't been utilizing it because it's not been part of our normal day-to-day, our normal business. The more comfortable we get with doing stuff like this, the more I think you're going to see this on multiple business platforms just skyrocket and go off from here. And it's a good thing. It really is a good thing. So yeah.
That was awesome, man. Anything else you want to add before we wrap this up?
No, come take your CCW, come give your training. I'm happy to do it, whatever it is. I
still need to do my shooting part.
Yeah. And we'll get you squared away.
Schedule that.
Yeah, we'll get you squared away there. No, you know, the biggest thing is ultimately as businesses, especially in smaller communities like this, the more that we can do stuff like this, where it's just like, hey, how can I benefit businesses in my area and show what my business is capable of doing, right? How can we work together throughout all this? There's a lot of competition, a lot of cutthroat, even in small towns and small areas. You know, instead of us walking around saying, hey, how can we help each other? Because for some of us, especially smaller businesses, we could very easily be out of business. And we need to rely on each other and be kind to one another. I can't emphasize that enough. You know, everybody's got to make money. I get it. It's cool, but there's good ways to do it. And I think that if we all work together, we can make that happen. Definitely for anybody who's interested in what we have to offer, check out our Facebook, check out our Instagram. Feel free to call us, contact us directly. Happy to do those consultations. Yeah, that's about it, man.
Awesome, man. I got your Facebook over here, Redbird Armory. We've got the Instagram. People can come and follow you on Instagram.
You can play rock, paper, scissors against Suburban. It's great.
I love this one. It was hilarious. Yeah, good excuse to drink some makers.
Yeah. Hey, have a little bit of fun, right?
And we've got the website, of course. This is your online brick and mortar.
Yep, and we will be adding holsters by end of May. We're going to start making custom holsters out of here too. So that whole portion of the website will be changing, and then there will actually be an online store that's going to be adding on to that as well. So that we're purchasing all the equipment and everything else to start making our own holsters by the end of May.
Nice, awesome, Matt. Thank you, man. I appreciate your time today.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
Keep pushing that content. I really enjoy it. I'm sure a lot of other people are enjoying it out there.
Definitely, brother.
Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day.
You too.